I'm hosting Prime News. Hello, everybody. This is Jason A. I don't even know what I'm saying. This is Jason A, your host of tonight's 50th Prime News episode. We have done 50 of these, guys, and it is kind of amazing. We're a little hyped tonight. As you can see, I'm trying to be, cool. I know y'all are hungry for this. Y'all are hungry for this Prime News. You ready to get this super plate? Y'all ready? All right, so I got some really good stories tonight. We'll be talking about some, crazy white folks as always. I'll be mentioning a little bit of Yeezy, a little bit of Cosby, and other stories that I think will interest you. But before that, I want to kick it over to Rayco to talk about sports stories. Rayco, what we got tonight?
Hey, what's up, Jason A? This is your boy, Rayco is it, live and direct from the FCN News desk. I got sports, boy do I got sports. How about LeBron James and Russell Westbrook will not be denied in Game 5? Yes, sir-e-d. Yes, that happened. How about they trying to punk your girl? What's her name? I don't know. I'm going to read it on the teleprompter. They trying to make black women not be able to compete, and if they do compete because they got too much testosterone, they got to compete with men. What the what? And then finally we got some crazy white boy that's potentially an NFL first round draft pick talking reckless as usual on social media. So basically a regular ass day in the neighborhood. Back to you, Jason A.
All right, guys. Well, stay tuned. We're going to kick this off now. Hey, everybody. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Thank you all for your support of this program, wherever you happen to be watching. If you're new to Prime News, we are glad to have you. Please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our channels. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook at /The Fifth Column Network. Prime News is on Instagram and Twitter and Periscope at FCN_1. Prime Sports is on Instagram and Twitter and Periscope at FCN_2. You can also watch all of our programming on demand on our website, www.thefifthcolumnnetwork.com, where all of our programming can be watched in chronological order, or by channel, or by program. We got choices, y'all. Take time to share this program with your friends and followers, and do not forget to leave your comments, thoughts, and questions as I'm sharing the news, because the conversation begins when the news stories end. Rayco and I will tackle all of your comments live, and we have a special guest. I think the Trayvolution is here. And our first story for tonight: a man has allegedly killed a deputy, stole a cruiser, and robbed a store. Hit the clicker. Investigators identified 29-year-old John Williams as the killer of County Sheriff Eugene Cole, who was fatally shot by Williams yesterday. He's still on the run. After killing the officer, Williams stole Cole's cruiser, drove it to a Cumberland Farms convenience store, and robbed it, police said. The vehicle was found abandoned in a town just after 5 a.m., police said. Williams was supposed to show up at court Wednesday afternoon for a hearing on a firearms charge, according to local news outlets. In March, he was charged after his vehicle was found by troopers in a ditch off a local interstate, records said. Williams was hit with multiple charges, including possession, carrying a firearm, improper storage of a firearm, and negligent operation of a motor vehicle. Authorities say they are on high alert as Williams is considered armed and dangerous, but probably will not get shot. Now, detectives, they go to a funeral home so that they could use a dead man's finger to unlock his cell phone. That ain't gonna work, fam. A Florida woman is upset after detectives showed up at the funeral home where her late fiance's body, Florida man, was resting. Florida police showed up on the facility to see if the dead man's cold fingertips could be used to unlock his cell phone. Cold fingertips, guys. This comes after her fiance, Linus Phillips, was killed by a police officer in March. Phillip had allegedly driven away from police before they searched before they searched him and after an officer allegedly smelled marijuana in his car. Police said Phillip got back into the car and drove off in reverse, dragging the officer Matthew Steiner, who fired his weapon at Phillip, killing him. Lieutenant Randall Cheney said the detectives were trying to access the phone as part of an investigation into Phillip's death and a drug investigation. The detectives were, of course, unsuccessful in unlocking the device. Again, you need a little heat there, guys. The incident raised questions of whether the tactic was legal or even ethical. According to Stetson University law professor Charles Rose, dead people do not have Fourth Amendment protection. Interesting. Against unlawful searches and seizures, but he noted that the deceased family does have an interest in his remains and in his belongings. So this incident is troubling. Hit the clicker. In our third news story, congrats, merit or quota. Former Board of Education member asked after biracial student's Harvard acceptance. What? A biracial student proudly announced on Twitter that he was accepted to a top university only for a former member of a different state's Board of Education to question his credentials. Now the Texas educator, of course, is apologizing. Drake Johnson of California tweeted that he's, quote, Harvard bound on April 18th. Congratulations, kid. 2 days later, though, George Clayton replied saying, congrats, were you admitted on merit or quota? As of Tuesday morning, it appears that Clayton's Twitter account has been suspended. Johnson, in response to the insulting and uncalled for comment, took the high road, simply listing his impressive credentials to answer Clayton's question. Thank you, valedictorian, ASB president, world champion, good SAT, and a couple handfuls of other involvements, so I would think merit? Drake's mother, Jean Johnson, told the Dallas Morning News that she doesn't know how Clayton came across her son's tweet in the first place. He was trolling. She said, why do you care and why are you asking that particular question to a kid who is clearly of some type of mixed race? So on Monday, Clayton addressed the controversy and apologized for his insensitivity. In an evening comment, he said his question was totally wrong and hugely insensitive. He characterized his comment as hateful and totally out of character. Clayton's Twitter profile says he's running for Board of Education again this year, but the news reports that there is no paperwork filed in his name at this point. As for Johnson, not only did he get into Harvard, my man was also accepted by 10 other schools, including Cornell, Brown, and Dartmouth. Excellent. Now, a golf club apologized for calling the cops on black women members. This is the worst thing they could do. A golf club in Pennsylvania has apologized for calling police on a group of black women, you bastards, after the co-owner and his father said that they were playing too slowly and refused requests to leave the course. Sandra Thompson and 4 friends met up Saturday to play a round of golf at the Grandview Golf Club, where they are all members, she told the newspaper. Now, at the second hole, a white man, whose son co-owns the club, came up to them twice to complain that they weren't keeping up with the pace of play. Thompson, an attorney and the head of the York chapter of the NAACP, told the newspaper this was simply untrue. On that same hole, another member of the group, Sandra Harrison, said she spoke with the Grandview Golf Pro, who said they were fine since they were keeping pace with the group ahead of them. So, no foul there. Despite that, the women skipped the third hole to avoid any other issues, she said. It's part of golf etiquette that slow-moving players let groups behind them play through if they are holding things up. And often golf courses have personnel who monitor the pace of play, letting golfers know when they are taking too long. So this is standard practice. The 5 are part of a larger group of local women known as Sisters in the Fairway. The group has been around for at least a decade, and all of its members are experienced players who have golfed all over the country and the world. They got receipts, guys, Thompson said. They're very familiar with golf etiquette. So, after the 9th hole, where it is customary to take a break before continuing on to the next 9 holes, 3 of the group decided to leave because they were so shaken up by the earlier treatment, the women told the newspaper. Thompson said that the man from the second hole, identified as former York County Commissioner Steve Chronister and his son, club co-owner Jordan Chronister, and several other white male employees approached the remaining two women and said they took too long of a break and they needed to leave the course. Yeah, the women argued that they took an appropriate break, and not only that, the men behind them were still on their beer break and not ready to tee off, as seen in a video that Thompson gave the newspaper. The women were told that the police had been called, and so they waited. Northern York County Regional Police did show up, they conducted interviews, and they left without charging anyone. Jordan Chronister's wife and co-owner of the club, JJ Chronister, said Sunday that she called the women personally to apologize. We sincerely apologize to the women for making them feel uncomfortable here at Grandview. That is not our intention in any way, she told the newspaper. We want all of our members to feel valued and that they can come out here and have a great time, play golf, and enjoy the experience. She said that she hopes to meet with them to discuss how the club can use what happened as a learning experience and do better in the future. How about not call the cops? Simple as that. Thompson said she's not sure a meeting is what needs to happen. I agree. There needs to be something more substantial to understand they don't treat people in this manner, she said. The encounter comes after two black men in Philadelphia were handcuffed and arrested on April 12th after a Starbucks employee called police because they hadn't bought anything in the store. The two men told the Associated Press that they were waiting for a business contact to arrive. Shame, shame, shame. As we celebrate our 50th episode of Prime News, this week was a rough one on Twitter, with Kanye tweeting. This weekend, Kanye started up by tweeting his support of freethinker Candace Owens. Then, yesterday, Kanye West expressed his support for his, quote, brother at Real Donald Trump and posted a picture wearing a red Make America Great Again hat next to music industry executives at Lyre Cohen and Lucian Grange. He said, quote, you don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with anyone does. Everything anyone does. And that's what makes us individuals. And we have the right to independent thought. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I don't agree 100% with anyone but myself. You should question that. If your friend jumps off the bridge, you don't have to do the same. Ye being ye is a fight for you to be you. I also disagree. Chance the Rapper came to Kanye's defense as well, saying, black people don't have to be Democrats. And he promptly got dragged. John Legend tried to talk Kanye out of supporting Trump via a private text message, telling him to consider how powerful and influential he is with regard to endorsements. Kanye then tweeted a screenshot of the text and said that John Legend was engaging in tactics based in fear to manipulate his free thought. What? Now this is the kicker. Ja Rule tried to tweet something controversial as well, that he is one of the most influential rappers of all time. Twitter user at SkeenBoyViarchi, I don't know what that says, had to jump in and tell him, Ja, we're dealing with a lot today, not now, please. Speculation is that Kanye has an album coming out, and all this is just to get the buzz going for the release. Was Ja's excuse. In other Twitter news, rapper Meek Mill has been freed after a high court order. Rapper Meek Mill walked out of prison Tuesday after Pennsylvania's highest court ordered him freed while he appeals decade-old gun and drug convictions. Following a 5-month campaign by his supporters to get him out, the state Supreme Court directed a Philadelphia judge who had jailed him to immediately issue an order releasing him on unsecured bail. Mill was sentenced in November to 2 to 4 years in prison for probation violations. He was taken from the prison by helicopter to Philadelphia, where he rang the ceremonial bell at the start of Game 5 of the Philadelphia 76ers Miami Heat playoff series, where Philly won. Welcome home, Meek Mill, said the game announcer to the rapper, who was sitting courtside next to actor Kevin Hart and Sixers co-owner Michael Rubin. I didn't know he was such a community fixture. Before the game, Mill visited privately with the Sixers in their locker room. A team of public lawyers and public relations consultants had waged an all-out battle to get him freed. leveling fierce criticism at the judge as a stream of high-powered figures and celebrities visited him in jail outside Philadelphia just hours before the Supreme Court ruling. Mill issued a statement saying that the past months had been a nightmare and thanked his many supporters and visitors, who included Rubin, New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney. Yeah, Robert Kraft. Although I'm blessed to have the resources to fight this unjust situation, I understand that many people of the color across the country don't have that luxury, and I plan to use my platform to shine a light on those issues, Mills said. That's the best thing anybody said about any of this stuff all week. He said he would now focus his attention on getting his convictions overturned, priority one, and that he looks forward to resuming his music career. Bill Cosby, found guilty of 3 counts of aggravated assault. Bill Cosby was convicted Thursday of drugging and molesting a woman in the first big celebrity trial of the #MeToo era, completing the spectacular late life downfall of a comedian who broke racial barriers in Hollywood on his way to TV superstardom as America's dad. Cosby, now 80, could end up spending his final years in prison after a jury concluded that he sexually violated Temple University employee Andrea Constant and at his suburban Philadelphia home in 2004. He claimed the encounter was consensual. Now, Cosby listened to the verdict stoically, but moments later lashed out loudly at District Attorney Kevin Steele and called him an asshole after the prosecutor asked that Cosby be immediately jailed because he might flee. The judge decided Cosby can remain free on $1 million bail while he awaits sentencing. Jurors also asked a series of questions during deliberations, including one that goes to the heart of the case against the former TV icon. What is the legal definition of consent? That key question came around 1 p.m., less than 2 hours after the 12-person jury began deliberating the case. Pennsylvania Court Judge Steve O'Neill told the jurors that he could not answer the question. He said the jury will decide what consent means to them. The panel of 7 men and 5 women reached a verdict after deliberating 14 hours over 2 days. 1 man and 1 woman are African American, and the rest appear to be white. Cosby could get up to 10 years in prison on each of the 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. He is likely to get less than that under state sentencing guidelines, but given his age, even a modest term could mean he could die behind bars. Speaking of men caught up in the Me Too movement, Charlie Rose will reportedly host a series about men scandalized by Me Too because they need a voice. The disgraced CBS anchor is being considered to star in a show where he'll interview other high-profile men taken down by the Me Too movement. Rose was accused of sexual misconduct in November. Rose's plan for redemption, not going to work, was revealed at a WNYC Q&A this week by British journalist Tina Brown, who was reportedly asked to produce the series about men embroiled in sexual harassment scandals, such as Louis C.K. and Matt Lauer. Brown confirmed this to Page Six the night of the Time 100 gala, saying that she turned down the offer, but said she couldn't remember who was behind the show. Various guests at the WNYC Q&A told the publication that it would be a, quote, Netflix show, but another source denied this. Don't do it, Netflix. In November 2017, 8 women accused Rose of misconduct in a report by the Washington Post, which prompted 9 additional women to come forward, according to the alleged victims. Rose groped them and walked around naked in front of them. And in late November 2017, he was fired from CBS. Rose has not yet commented on the reported show. And in Germany, they abolished its top music awards after an anti-Semitic rap scandal. Germany's biggest music prize is being abolished after one of this year's awards was given to a rap album allegedly containing anti-Semitic lyrics.
Those are rappers?
Rappers Kollega and Farid Bang won, sorry, that's not his name, an award for Best Rap Album at the awards earlier this month. 2 of Germany's most successful rappers, Kollega and Farid Bang, came under fire after comparing themselves to inmates at the Nazi concentration camp. In the song 0815, the duo sings, "My body is more defined than those of our Swiss mates." That's horrible.
That's pretty good.
I mean that line.
Okay.
Nazi Germany killed more than 1 million inmates, the majority of them Jews, at the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp during the World War II. Many were found starving and emaciated when they were freed at the end of the war. The lyrics' allusion to the suffering at Auschwitz sparked strong condemnation from Jewish groups. Holocaust survivors feel especially that the lyric is not just crude and undignified, but also scorns them and their murdered relatives, Christoph Hubner from the International Auschwitz Committee said. The head of the Central Council of Jews in Germany, Dr. Joseph Schuster, also criticized the line, telling the newspapers, "While we demand that immigrants accept our values, violence and intolerance is being celebrated in these types of songs." Kolga, I don't know if that's his name, who is of German-Canadian descent, and Farid Bang, who is of Spanish-Moroccan descent, have both dismissed the criticisms. Kolga released video on YouTube in which he accused Bild and other German, quote, mainstream media of impeding artistic freedom and treating his listeners as stupid. Farid Bang, however, did apologize in an open letter to German singer Esther Bejarano, a 93-year-old Holocaust survivor who had criticized the duo, saying it was not his intent to insult her. What about the rest of the Jews? Despite this, Germany's biggest music prize is being abolished. The Echo brand is so badly damaged that a complete new beginning is necessary. The Federal Music Industry Association, BVMI, said on Wednesday, "We don't want this music prize to be perceived as a platform for anti-Semitism, misogyny, homophobia, or belittling of violence," the BVMI said. While events at this year's prize gala could not be undone, the association said it wanted to ensure that such a mistake could not be repeated in the future. Did you not listen to the lyrics? So, that is all of my stories on this here 50th episode of Prime News. We're going to go over to sports with Ray Cole. Is it?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Desk. I am Ray Cole. Is it? You can find me all over the social media webs. that's a joke. You won't find Ray Cole. Is it? No goddamn where. Nevertheless, here I am to talk about sports. First up, let me drag the NFL for getting ready to potentially have a #1 draft pick who hates niggas. That's right. Josh Allen has taken to Twitter some years ago in his youth, apparently because, hey, boys are just being boys, right? About 2012, 2013, the future #1 pick went onto his Twitter account, and I believe he said something to the effect about something about niggas, and then he said something about, if it ain't white, it ain't right. Oh, you can just go. You don't worry about what I'm doing, okay? Just do your thing. Then he said on ESPN, he said, "I hope you know, and others, I'm not that type of person. I was 14 or 15. I got a violin sound effect. I was 34. And I tweeted so recklessly. I didn't know the impression I had because that's just not me. I apologize for what I did." And I stopped him there because I said, "Oh, okay. You didn't know what? You're apologizing for what? And to whom? You didn't know that you were going to offend 100-something million African Americans? Oh, you didn't know it was going to mess with your damn pockets, did you? You didn't know that, huh? Well, you should have known better." Yeah, you should have. What are you talking about? How am I supposed to know that? And then you're going to interrupt the broadcast with that? What am I supposed to do now? My energy's here. It's bad producing, fam. Next thing you know, he went and called up, what's the guy's name over here? Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. I don't know why anybody talks to Stephen A. Smith. If you want to talk to a black man that's going to co-sign your bullshit, call Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A., what did Stephen A. say? Oh, he said his tweets was made in reference to rap lyrics in the TV show, including saying that it was part of an episode of the sitcom Modern Family. Well, okay. So you just okayed everything he said. Okay, that's fine. But here's the most egregious thing. That damn fool Will Kane. I do not like Will Kane. I don't care if ESPN is trying to get fair and balanced reporting by putting up some white dude who really wants to go back home in the South where he comes from and he loves it, puts on a sheet and talk about how much he hates people of the Negroid race. I don't like him. So this is what Will Kane had to say on Twitter. So we're all just going to pretend Josh Allen was being racist and not young, dumb, trying to be cool? That's what we're going to do today? No, what we're not going to do today, Will Kane, is to bury your head in the sand and pretend like you don't know what the fuck time it is. You know his punk ass was trying to be funny. He got caught up. Now you got to pay for it. So your punk ass should fall all the way down and lose all of that potential #1 money. That's what should happen. Then my man on Twitter, what's his name? Jamel Smith says Josh Allen will still be a top draft pick tonight in a league that refuses to employ Colin Kaepernick because racist speech is less of a threat to the NFL's bottom line than is free speech. Too many NFL fans continue to accept African Americans as gladiators, but not as free thinkers. Man, that's a great tweet. But I don't know, though. I really hope that this kid does not go first round. But if he does, no, I take it back. I want him because I want to show that there is a glaring disparity across blacks and whites, not only in the NFL, but in this country, where one can talk hate and race issues while one person stands up for it and you get blacklisted for it. And then you want to talk about there is no such thing as white privilege. Okie dokie. Oh, wait. This is a good one, though. One of his tweets that he happened to scrub off of his Twitter account before the infamous is, I love penis. Oh. So he'd rather you guys think that he was a bigot than a homosexual. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but being a homosexual. There's plenty of things wrong with being a bigot. You all got it, right? Okay, all right. Okay, sure. So, next up is some women athletes must now medically lower their testosterone levels to compete. What? This is absolutely crazy. Here it is. Let me see here. International Association of Athletes Federation announced a new policy establishing a maximum amount of testosterone in women's middle distance running events. If a woman exceeds the limit of natural testosterone, she must take drugs designed to lower it or compete in the men's field. What? Some argue that the new policy is aimed solely at one athlete, and that athlete is Caster. How do you pronounce her last name? Semenya of South Africa. Listen, this is what's funny. She blows out women, right? Yep. She blows them out. And now she has to do a whole bunch of extra, right? Yep. But what you guys didn't know in the report, actually, they said African-American or African descent male athletes, especially in the field of track, are going to have their legs amputated from their knees down. So they want to just keep everything trill. Want to keep everything trill and make it fair across the board because, listen, man, white boys need medals too, man. I get it. It's a lot of black privilege running around here in track and field. It's a lot of black privilege, man. Them big booties and them big quadriceps, baby, out them starting blocks. Hey, I get it. It's real. It's real out here in the field of track and field. Yeah, I did that. Next thing you know, let's move on here to NBA. Woo! 2 Game 5s. LeBron James and Russell Westbrook will not be denied. No. The 4-time MVP and 3-time NBA champion made a killer shot, 3-point line, a block. He scored. How many points did he score that night? 44. 3. And to close the series out in a 3-2 first round series, led by the Indiana Pacers. Now they're in the lead, 44 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists for 42 minutes of actual play. This dude is on some God level ish. But not to be outdone, Russell Westbrook had a historic night of his own and coming back from one of the greatest NBA deficits in the playoff series, which ended the game in a 61-28 run over a 20-minute period. Eventually came away with the 107-99 victory to send the series with the Utah Jazz back to Salt Lake City for Game 6. Russell Westbrook, who led all scorers with 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, including scoring 33 points in the second half on 12 for 23 shooting, including 5 of 7 from 3. Whoo! Whoo! Listen, if anything doesn't show you much more than that, it's just the simple fact that your man, Chris Paul, not Chris Paul, what's his name? No.
Oh, Paul George.
Paul George, yeah, to nobody. That Paul George should really look at this tandem and say, oh, man, maybe I should stay here. Maybe we're a piece away.
George had 34.
Yeah, he had 34. Listen, they was balling out there, man. They was absolutely balling. So, wait, I have one more thing, though. My favorite stat of the night. I love petty stats. I love petty stats. And this is my favorite petty stat of the night. Go ahead shots and final 5 seconds. Of course, you're just going to cut right in front of mine. You know what, man? This 50th broadcast is, listen, y'all niggas got to learn to duck in front of cameras. I've crawled on the floor to get around. Y'all just, nah, that's not what we going to do. We just going, like a rabbit and a deer in headlights, huh? Okay. You just over here giving people signals. All right. Favorite, be quiet, you.
Your petty stat was on screen, bro.
That's fine. I know it. I'm going to get to it after being disrupted. Favorite petty stat? Man, go ahead shots in final 5 seconds of fourth quarter. They had Jordan versus LeBron. You got to always go Jordan versus LeBron. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Michael Jordan field goal attempts, 5-11. LeBron James, 6 of 13. The percentage, 45%. LeBron James, 46. Buzzer beaters, 3 for Jordan, 4 for LeBron. I would give you a Kanye lyric reference, but nah, that nigga's done. Just like me. Rayco is it. Sports. Back to you.
My back? I'm back. Before I close out the show,
Yeah, please.
we probably have some comments, so we're going to get Trevo, herself, the Trevolution, to read those comments. Trevo, what we got?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Trevolution with your comments on tonight. You guys got quite a few for your debut position here at Prime News. First off, T. Michelle says, why does the mixed race matter? Does whiteness equal merit? Ramon Javier Benito says, it's clear he's on mixed race, white mom. What does that have to do with anything? She's as wrong as the official is. I think that has to go with the story about the merit or quota getting into Harvard.
Well, yeah, I think she brought that up because he said, was it a quota? And she was saying he's obviously got black in him. So are you saying that he's filling a quota of minorities?
Nah, I think she's saying he half white, so why are you questioning merit?
Oh.
That's what I think.
Or she was saying, hey, I have a mixed race kid, so pay me attention. Maybe.
I mean, is any of that good?
No, I don't.
No,
Like,
none of it.
Why did she? It's obvious he's a mixed. Oh, so because he's light skinned,
Right.
That is like that. You know what? Let me just say this.
Yeah.
That shit is as problematic as his comment, and that's why. And I've gotten into it with many people, many day, who try to pretend like their half white child is somehow some magical ass little unicorn that should be elevated above everybody else whose phenotypes didn't happen to fall into the more Caucasoid, pigmentation. But nevertheless, it's problematic because you shouldn't have brought it up. What difference do it make?
What difference does it make?
What difference does it make? But you got to make sure that your little half-breed ass magical Negro unicorn ass son gets all the credit due, and everybody got to know that he's got 50% of whiteness to buoy him in his merit. Way to go, white mom. Way to go.
Desmond Alves, he commented a whole lot. He said, this will serve Allen well when he's in the pocket. Talking about your sports stories. Only Kane we acknowledge is Dean. And says, and Kane, hashtag biblical, never trust a Kane. Heather Walker commented a lot in this particular episode of Prime News. She would like to know who the Amish man is sitting at the Prime News desk. She said, Ravo, a great J. Cole impression. And participation medals matter. Basically, we didn't have a lot of good comments today, y'all.
Yeah,
so, that's pretty much all we got.
That's what we got?
Yes.
Well, I had a comment. I just want to comment on Ja Rule trying to insert himself into this conversation.
Why not? Hey, that's what you're supposed to do.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, he was.
As Ja Rule, though, Ja Rule was never the biggest of his. Well, he was big.
No, man.
That was huge.
He was big. He was big.
Ja Rule was following suit because
He was big.
LL Cool J.
I just hated him.
Remind everybody that he created GOAT, and he been going back and forth, letting everybody know his resume. And so Ja Rule then decided that I need to throw my resume.
Ja Rule, who had a 3-year period, versus LL, who has 30.
Hey, listen. Ja Rule, let me say this, man. I get where you coming from, but let me say this, man. Everybody have a moment. Everybody have a wave, and I think it's a little dismissive of Ja Rule's entrance into the Hall of Fame of hip hop. I mean, the dude really made hip hop, pop, R&B what it is today. Like Ja Rule did that. He was so big, he made J-Lo have hit records. Like, he was writing for everybody, man. And I think that, like, to diminish Ja Rule as a joke now because 50 deaded him, but 50 got deaded by Game, and everybody gets cannibalized. Hip hop is all about cannibalism, and you're gonna have your moment and you don't. Some people have one hit. Ja Rule got 20 something hits, man. The dude cold, man. Salute to Ja Rule, man. J. Cole don't like you.
I'm so tired of being lonely.
I kind of felt like he should.
The baby girl put it on me.
I felt like he should be at the spotlight. Universal Fan Con just went down in flames, nigga, and everybody's comparing Fire Festival to Universal Fan Con. Like, you probably should just not enter yourself into the Twitter conversation right now.
Timing is everything. I said timing is everything.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
Nah, it's just Heather on there talking smack, so we're just going to ignore her.
All right. Sounds good to me. Well, everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in to, again, our 50th Prime News episode. I did want to take a little bit of time to bring my co-workers, my co-hosts, my ride or dies, my FCN Day ones onto the set.
Reggie's here.
Yeah, Reg.
Get the camera.
FOE, FCN or everything. We want to talk a little bit about Prime News. What does it mean? Why did we start this? Rayvo, you want to start this combo off?
Sure. I think that when we first, no, it's fine. You can leave it there. My voice projects. Yeah. You guys acting like rank amateurs tonight. Get that away from me, please. Okay, so
yes, sir. No.
Put it back on your shirt, please. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Put it back on your shirt.
It's coming.
Okay.
I gotta pull it down.
I think that when we all talked about this years ago, we talked about how fake news was running rampant, and how that there's actually nobody reporting news from our perspective in the world and in the community at large. And it was very important to us to do that. I remember Reggie and I in the office talking about it and how this was going to be a big staple for what we were doing. And when we took it to Trezene, she agreed and wanted to really make sure that the news was reflected in a way that is real, without bias, without narrative, and report how it should be reported. She takes such tremendous time and energy every week. You guys have no idea how much time she pours into reporting the news for you all. and not only just the reporting, but hopefully uplifting you all and showing everyone the good spots of the community. And you know,
I would say in many cases finding stories that you otherwise would not see on typical news outlets, and from perspectives that you would not get without pushing any particular narrative. So
yeah, and I also try to pull together stories and boil them down as much as I can, because you know you can get hit with 40 Trump stories in a day. So I try to, you know, help y'all understand what's happening without all the BS and smoke and mirrors, if you will, that other outlets give you. So just really boiling it down to how it matters to us.
Yeah. Rich?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I know when we kind of talked about it, it was just giving us an opportunity to hear stories and report on stories that kind of get overlooked and oftentimes are not reported fairly, not reported equally, and aren't giving it to the same shine that other stories get. So yeah, that's that in a nutshell.
yeah, absolutely. I think we just hope that we fulfill our mission to you in presenting these stories in this way, that you get something out of it. We definitely appreciate all our viewers, every single like, every single comment, be it irrelevant or not, we still appreciate it. We're just glad that you're watching.
This got all sentimental.
Yeah, no, it is sentimental because I think that, like, even like what he said, the comments, and you know, let me say this: we have a lot of you who come here, and I have gotten lots of messages saying this is the only news that I watch. Now, people are saying this is the only news that I watch now, and that's a lot, you know. And you're talking about professionals that every day have careers to go to, that have families, that have children, that have other activities that they participate in, but weekly they come into the FCN studios and we create content for you all to enjoy. You know, we've not asked you all for a dime, but we've asked you to tune in and to like and to share. And maybe someone else will get the same importance from what we're delivering to you all. You know, it's just important to us because we decided to put our time, our talents, our money, everything where our mouths were when we were complaining about what the world has and what it doesn't have. And we all say, wait a minute, why are we wasting our college educations and things that we've been learning since we were 12 and not do something? So we band together, we created a website, we created programming to give you all inclusion, to give you diversity, to give you faces that look like yours, that aren't always talking about you killing and murdering and raping and fighting and all the negatives, and going out and bringing you the stories that are being overlooked on a weekly basis. And I'll be very honest with you, it is very sentimental to me because I thank you all for your comments and for those people who greatly appreciate what we do. And I hope that you share it with other people in like minds and like hearts and like thinkers that have no affiliation with Kanye West or Bill or Chance or Charlie Rose or just all the fuck niggas out there. That's just all of them. So thank y'all so much. I hope you guys have a great night and happy Avengers Day. Yes. Because we is getting out there and gonna watch a movie.
So we got True Ball Thursday coming up. We're going to get through that as quickly as we can. So we can get up out of here. We're going to talk about Avengers a little bit as well as basketball. Tomorrow, not only do we have our normal Fry at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, but we have the greatest Royal Rumble from Saudi Arabia. This will be hosted by Hoke Tone at noon Eastern Time. So definitely tune in. We appreciate you guys. Anybody else got anything to say?
Nope, that's it.
Nope, not at all. Thank y'all. Love
FCN
y'all.
out.